All right, let's get this party started. Sorry, running a little late. I broke a nail. It's a terrible thing. I'm gonna give it a minute, see if who's joining, how many people we got. I have some music playing in the background. Let me know if it's too loud. I'll turn it down. In the meantime, I will moisten my brushes a little bit. Hey guys, got Jason, Molina, I think I'm saying that right, Rob Stevens. What's shaking? Hope everyone's keeping safe, isolated, not spending too much time on EPAC. As you can tell, this is not brought to you by Upper Deck or EPAC or any other sponsor. Alright, so get some water. So you can do, that's looking better. So this is the sketch card sketch I was doodling on a piece of scrap paper. Barely fits within the standard sketch card size, luckily. So last week when I did the video, a couple of people were asking, okay, what's next after the drawing? So the drawing last week, the blob sketch, was not meant to be converted to a sketch card. It may or may not actually end up being that way. So people are asking what happens next. So for my process, when I do, especially on APs, not so much on the direct inserts, those I'll usually draw for the most part right on the card. But when I do an AP or something else, I'll sketch it out on larger size, like 5x7, work out all the details there, scan it, take it into Photoshop, kind of adjust proportions there, tweak things, clean up the contrast, the levels, then just scale it down to sketch card size and transfer to the card and then paint. What I did here, I just did a sketch right on the paper. I did the best I can to clean up the graphite smudges and kind of soften up the lines, but I'm going to paint over it. So I'm not going to go into tons of layer of paint because that's going to take like 3 hours, but I'm going to do a wash approach on this card. I've been doing that a lot more often lately, so in the next set that's going to be released at some point this year that I'm working on, you'll see some cards that are done in this technique. Specifically, there's a Dagger card in there with a less risque pose, but a very similar look. That's gonna be a nice companion for this one. So lately I've been using exclusively acrylic paints. I used to do ink washes and stuff like that, but I don't do that anymore. Now I'm all paint. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do an underpainting in burnt umber. And it's just going to be very wet and loose just to start blocking some of the shadows. And if you have any questions, anything, shoot them up. I have my screen up here so I can see them come in. I know there's like a 5-second delay happening, so bear with me. Oh, And I generally tape the cards to a bigger piece of cardboard. Just makes it easier to maneuver than trying to handle the card. It's a little bit better with this piece of paper because it's larger, but with an actual sketch card, I don't really want to get my hands all over this thing. So I just gotta find the light source, which I already did, but the light's gonna come from here. So all the shadows are gonna be on the left side and underneath the character. Oh, that's a little too dark. So I'm sure this is not the right way to use acrylics, because I'm using them with wet washes more like watercolor, but I really don't like the way watercolor works, so I'm doing it on acrylic. So no Dagger. Dagger's outfit's pretty much white, but in the real world, there's no such thing as pure white. Even if you're wearing a white shirt, it's always going to reflect what's around you. So I'm going to do a very light, probably blue tint on the costume part. And the only parts that are going to be really, really white are I'm going to leave her eyes, the crescent moon around the eye over there, and yeah, maybe we'll do some flares. I don't know. I haven't really given this that much thought in terms of composition or what it's going to look like colored. So just got to get the right mixture of water and paint here so I don't. There we go. So what else is skin? Just her hands. Hey, enjoy your dinner, Rob. Thanks for checking in. We'll miss you. So what I'm going to do for the chest area is I've wet the paper. There's still just a little bit of pigment in the brush, but just going to really wet the area. Actually, there should be a cash shadow here. and that will let the edges really blend. Really, I try not to get a lot of hard edges on skin, unless there's very well defined muscle, so more on the male figures. Really the only hard edge I should have here is at the bottom of the breast. Where's Matt to get excited about rendering cleavage? Come on, Matt. I mean, it's not as exciting as rendering blob cleavage. Few things in life are, but yeah, and there should be a little undershadow here. Still a shadow from the hair. Because I use water in this specific approach, as the paint dries, it's actually going to dry lighter because the water is evaporating and it's just leaving the pigment behind. So when it's wet, it's a lot more intense. So let me go back and re-emphasize certain areas. Thanks, Jason. Let's get a little more form. You know what, Jason? Like, I really appreciate that. I do believe that that there is a certain degree of talent, and natural talent, or inclination for the creative to do this. But I also believe that it's just practice, and where talent comes in is how fast maybe you adapt to stuff. Yeah, just the talent comes to how fast you pick up something, but you still need to practice. I don't believe that there's anyone ever in history that just picked up a brush and banged out an epic piece, or a decent piece. There's a lot of technique. You got to understand how the medium works, how the product works, how the paper. You need an understanding of anatomy, an understanding of lighting, composition, and that stuff that just I don't believe comes naturally to anyone. So my point being is, hey, if you want to draw and paint, just do it. do it consistently, do it a lot. You know, it might take you longer than other people to get to a certain level, but I think anyone can get there. You just need to have the drive and the motivation to do it. And I don't know who said it, but somebody had, I keep see come up somewhere, that in order to really become proficient or something, you got to put in 10,000 hours. So yeah, there you go. Grab a pencil, put in 10,000 hours of sketching stuff, and yeah, bang out some paintings, some cards, grab some markers, crayons, pencil crayons, whatever medium you want to do. And there's an unlimited amount of resources online for free that will teach you techniques. The products don't matter that much. I see a lot of people get all like, oh, what kind of pencil is that? What kind of brush is that? Doesn't matter. Pick any one of your favorite artists, give them a piece of paper of like 4-cent photocopy paper, a box of crayons, and they'll whip out something really cool. Josh, yeah, I really, so how much I charge for PSC, personal sketch card, it really depends on what it is that you want. If you want to just grab something that I've done in the past, that I already have done, it's really kind of going to vary on how long I've spent on it. But, you know, on the bottom end, I'll say maybe like $35, $40, and then kind of sky's the limit, right? If I spend 3 days on a painting or a drawing, then that's going to reflect on the price. So yeah, I hope that vague answer gives you some direction. Okay, who else do we have here? Hey, Jonathan. Oh yeah, you say that now. um, I think I mentioned in the other video and while chatting with a few people over the years. Oh, good. I hope you have your audio this time too. Yeah, in regards to pricing, just pricing overall, I don't know how other sketch card artists figure out their pricing. I try to do mine based on time and material at a certain level, because I want to make sure that, you know, I'm somewhat compensated for the time that I put into anything that I do, and cover my materials. Now, I use really cheap products because I don't care for brands, and they work well for me. So I don't really have a high production cost for cards. But I try to look at what the going rate is for comparable, or what I think is comparable level of art, and price accordingly. I've seen some people like on Instagram selling personal sketch cards for $3, $5, stuff like that. I would never do that because personally, I think that's just detrimental to my brand, if you will. Honestly, it's not even worth the stamp to mail that out. I don't know how some people do that. But anyways, I forget what my point was. Kind of happens when as I'm painting. So I just need to add a little bit more shadows on the skin area, just to reinforce some of the core shadows. And then I'm going to move on to the hair, and she's like super light blonde, so I'm gonna use the same burnt umber underpainting. I'm just gonna add a touch of yellow to it so the temperature changes a little bit, so it's not exactly the same. See, I don't know. I don't know, Jonathan. I've never examined what a cheap sketch card looks like. Personally, I'd be pissed if I paid any amount of money for a hand-drawn or hand-painted piece of creative and got printed or Mod Podge transferred printout on a piece of paper and overpainted. I'd be pissed. But, you know, that's just me. Hey, Tommy. Thanks, buddy. Who else we got on? Is there a way to see who's watching? Nope. All right. Yeah, I totally agree, Jonathan. I mean, as long as you know what you're getting, then it's fine. So if you like something and you know that it's a mixed media transfer, whatever it is, cool, go for it. But it's just, you know, it's like buying an original, I don't know, Frazetta sketch and you get it and it's actually a photocopy. That's how I look at it. Alright, so just gonna add a touch of yellow to my palette here. I don't know if you can, oh yeah, it is. So going back to what I was saying before about cheap art supplies, this is dollar store acrylic paint. Boom. And this one's Michael's. I've been writing the same set of $8 paints for the last 3 years. I have expensive paints as well. But personally, I like the way this specific deco art crafter's acrylic behaves, because it's kind of a hybrid between soft body acrylics and acrylic inks, meaning that they're really watery, like really fluid. And just the way I use paint, it works well for me. Okay, so I think I got a nice, yep. Maybe you just haven't found the right pen, Jonathan. With 3 face masks. I have so many questions. Well, starting with, where'd you get 3 face masks? I can't find a face mask to save my life. Literally. Like Lebanon, Middle East, or like Lebanon somewhere in the States? Oh, wow. Yeah, they haven't applied mandatory face masks in where I live, and I'm in Toronto, Canada. That's not a thing yet. A lot of people wear them. I don't know where they get them, but are you talking about like actual medical face masks, or just something to wrap around your mouth to protect you from sneezing on people? Oh well, Tommy, that's really impressive. Thank you for doing that. So, N95 face masks. Wow. Now I know where all the face masks are. Thanks, Tommy. Flip it this way for a minute. Probably get a better view if it's, yeah, there we go. This is why it's easy to have it on a piece of cardboard or wood or something, just so much easier to turn. Okay, so just let that settle for a little bit. Acrylic paint dries fairly quick if you don't use medium, so I'm just using water here, so this stuff will be dry within a few minutes. So what I'm going to do now is, should I do gray? Yeah, I'll do gray. Start doing the shadows on her costume. And for that, sorry, I'm just going to use a very light gray. Yeah, exactly. So this is another reason why I like using acrylics, that if I mess something up, I can let it dry and just paint over. There's a few cards out there that I went like halfway through and I really didn't like the way it was coming together, and just painted over the whole thing and started a complete different card. There's trying to remember what it is, but there's one that I did the other day, which I did the full sketch like it was here, and I did the first wash, and I really didn't like it. It was a domino card. It just looked weird, so I think it ended up as Ghost Rider. I think that's what it was. Either Ghost Rider or Gamora. And you just can't tell. So. Actually, what I meant to say, Tommy, is that I never get a color wrong. It never happens. So yeah, I don't know what you mean. I take it all back. Thank you. One thing that I learned a little late is that, well, what I used to do for the underpaintings, I'd used to use watered down black, like an ink wash, by using the acrylic paint, and try to do that to get the gray levels. And it sort of worked, but it tended to be blotchy. And then something that I wish somebody would actually told me was that don't do that. Mix grays. Just mix black and white and get the gray, and do it that way. Gives a bit, gives me anyways, more consistent coverage and doesn't blotch. I gotta keep on reminding myself where the light's coming from to make sure I apply the shadows correctly. Not really shadows on the costume, but the darker areas. I just see a lame Perna pop in. Hi. Hey, thanks Tommy. Thanks for checking in. Have a good night. If I don't mess it up, I'll make sure the whole video gets posted and stays on the feed so you can watch it later if you want. Hi, Lane. Bit of a fan. How are things on your side of the city? Oh, a little battle royale action there, Jonathan. Can't believe that she's still a banned character. She was open in Premiere, I believe. Yeah, she was. And I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I totally forgot that she was allowed in Premiere, because I would have loved to use some of my IPs for to do a couple of, or at least one rogue, a rogue and a gambit card. Used to love the way her character was portrayed on the animated series back in the 90s. Is she on the Elaine? Is Rogue on the allowed list for a certain set that we're not allowed to talk about? I need to check my paperwork. Not sure how a Shadowbox sketch card would work, Jonathan. I guess they need to be repackaged at the factory. Ignoring this leg. Oh, I definitely need to check my my paperwork. I was sure she was on the banned list. Thanks for pointing that out. She'll definitely be making a couple of cameos. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Jonathan. Should, I can't remember her name. Is it Jennifer? From UD that's kind of in the group? Definitely tell her that. Oh, somebody else had a really good idea today. Oh yeah, Nightcrawler Apocalypse for sure are banned. That I know for sure. I gotta check on Rogue. Oh. Do you know if Gambit is still banned? Alright, so thanks. I mean, I could check myself. Don't go out of your way. I'll check when I get home from work. Thanks, Jason. She's coming together. So I might not do the type of finish that I originally planned on doing. I'm really liking the way this is coming together as is. So I was going to do a underpainting and then do a flat color wash over the whole thing, and then bring out the highlights. But this is actually working really well like this, and that's primarily because her costume is white, so it doesn't need a full wash. Oh, Gambit is allowed. Thanks, Elaine. You're like my favorite person today. Deadpool's on the do not draw list for this as well, if I remember correctly. And all the Galactic guys, Silver Surfer and company. Who's Willie Lumpkin? Now you're just making stuff up. Yeah, they really need to sort out the Silver Surfer thing. I think Norn might lose his mind. So Willie Lumpkin is the mailman for the Fantastic Four. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm so out of touch with reality. Like something out of a normal Rockwell painting. Okay, so skin and hair's dry. How are we on time here? Oh, 55 minutes. Okay. So now I'm just going to do a very light yellow wash over the hair. Like very light. Just so it's not perfectly white. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about, Jonathan. Thanks for tuning in, Elaine. Stay safe. Got some funky jazz going on. Oh, I'm so stoked about Rogue and Gambit. I'm actually a little giddy. I think I have 33 cards left to do. So, yeah. Get a little Raging Cajun action in there. Savage Gambit. Yeah, for sure. Have to do Savage Rogue too, but my rendition of Savage Rogue will never clear upper deck. There's just some characters that I really don't want to bother with anymore, just because to do them justice, you need to get, mainly the female characters, you really have to have a provocative pose, and they just don't allow them. So you know, I don't want to put in a couple hours doing a card and then have it just get rejected because the original costume is too skimpy or anything like that. So I'm just mixing a skin tone here. And Dagger is got very bright blonde hair, which would mean that she's really, really pale. Oh yeah, banana hammock. They should do a bikini edition sketch card set and throw out all the regulation. Let the artists go ham and see who's really ready to take it too far. I'd love to do some yeah, there were tons of the swimsuit editions. I think that probably was under the old Marvel regime, but you know, there's a market for that, and I'd love to do some pure pin-up-y stuff. I was doing a Vampirella, just futzing around with pencil crayons. Didn't finish it, but you know, something like this. I'd love to do some of those on official cards. I know I'm probably not going to be able to put this video on YouTube because I shared that. Not child friendly. Okay, so getting close to the finish line here. I'm gonna bust out the tiny brush for some detail work. And a strand of hair covering the face. So this is close to being done. Still debating whether I want to try to throw a background on it or not. Don't want that to be an afterthought, but it might just have to be. What this is missing is a touch of red. To bring some detail to the face. Because I didn't do the original wash technique that I was thinking of doing here, I didn't bother, I didn't think of cleaning up the pencil lines on the crescent moon. They really stand out. So Yeah, I have too much paint over that, so I'm just gonna have to go in and repaint to white. Get rid of some of those edges. And I don't really want pure white because it's just gonna look like white out. So I'm gonna add a touch of yellow to it. So there seems to be good engagement on these videos and had some good feedback from some of the group members. So I'll try to do this again next week. Not sure what I'll do, but if there's something specific you guys want to see or something you think I should try, let me know and I'll try to accommodate. Said last week I probably be drawing or painting anyways, and I don't mind sharing. Sharing with the group. I'm not trying to build followers or an audience or anything like that, so I will keep it on to the group video if you guys want to check it out. If not, then that's fine. I'm not easily offended. So yeah. What I'm doing now is with a very thin brush, adding some highlights. Maybe I'll just do Gambit wearing nothing but a banana hammock, as Jonathan suggested. Oh, Jonathan, what I'm going to do with this pick when it's done, it's going to go in a pile of, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Yeah, let me think about it. Bob from last week actually sort of found a home, so yeah, I don't know. Haven't given it any thought. Don't know why I'm struggling with dry paint when I could just get more paint. I don't know what you think is going to happen here, Jonathan. Oh, right, yeah, that's for sure. Geez, everything, everything I do is up for sale. Or trade or whatnot. Yeah, I actually totally forgot I did. Um, did I do a video of the silk one? I don't think so. Oh, you know what I think I'll do next time? Oh, this is going to be fun. Just got to make sure Jonathan's around for it. Give me 1 second here. Jonathan Omega Hunter. Not you, Jonathan Silk Hunter. Yeah, I can see you always around, which is great. Is it Jonathan Omega Hunter? What's his real name or his moniker? Something Omega Hunter. Do you really want to be called a silkworm? Honestly. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do next. Next time. Where is it? Nope. Where is it? Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, I was goofing around and I started doing this guy here. And then I started painting it and took it a lot further than I wanted to, but I never did finish it. So what I think I'm gonna do next week is finish off this guy. There's still a bit of painting to be done and to get the details around the eyes and the background. I'm gonna throw in one more character. And I'm gonna give this guy away. I just gotta figure out how or what's the best way to do it. But yeah. Anyways, this was a really fun one to do, and so I'll definitely finish this guy off, and we'll find him a home, and yeah, that's what we'll do next week. And something else I have here, perhaps, to share. I don't know who, which character, but I'll give it some thought. If you have any ideas, shoot me a message. Ooh, and then the other thing that I could do that was going to take a lot longer is a while back I started this Carmen Electra Black Cat portrait, which I never finished. So I could work on that on video, but that's going to take another 4 hours. Nightcrawler. That's it. That's what we're gonna add. Nightcrawler. or Iceman maybe. I can't remember. I gotta go back through the podcast and see what all the characters were. I think maybe Iceman or. Oh, so there you go. It'll be either Nightcrawler or Iceman. Probably Nightcrawler, because Iceman looks too much like Silver Surfer. I know. Shouldn't say that. I think I just heard Norn swear from somewhere. But yeah, next time I'll I'll finish off that character club piece, and I'll figure out a way on how to give it away to someone. Not limited to the character club, anybody in the group. So you know what, let me talk to Ian, see maybe he's got an idea. Maybe I can let me talk to Ian and see what he thinks. Okay, so let's wrap up this fine lady here. So I gotta do some client work. Gotta pay them bills. Yeah, that's one way to do it. So we can get a little bit more interactive. Yeah, I'm not doing a background. I really like the white cards. Actually, no. My indecision is final. I'm gonna add a touch of color in the back. Yeah, that's a good idea too, Jonathan, but I'm not really trying to use the group to build my audience or anything like that. Or in general, I'm trying to keep it organic. If you like my stuff and you want to follow me, hey, I'm on Instagram, Dre Studios. If you like my stuff and you don't want to follow me, that's cool. If you don't like my stuff, why are you watching this? I don't know, let me think about it. Let me bounce some ideas around some people. If anyone else has an idea. What board am I using? You mean this? Or the paper stock? Because this is part of an Amazon box. and paper stock is Canson mixed media. It's not very good. It's too porous for my liking. And even what I'm doing here with, I mean, it's got some water, but it's still a pretty dry technique. You see the paper starting to buckle, and it's actually taped on the back too. It's just what I had here, so that's the reason I used it. I actually prefer to use Bristol if I can. Yeah, so the stock is Canson mixed media. This isn't very good. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not very thick either. You can see it's like a 12 point. So that's it. This is one of the ways I do sketch cards. I could keep on working on this for another like 6 hours to really smooth out all the detail and get really silky smooth blends. Like I said, just a matter of time. I do think she looks alright. I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers. I'm happy with what I've got here. So call that a day for now. Thanks everyone who joined in, the comments. Said if you want to see this again, if you have any ideas, any questions, I'm on a lot. DM me, message, comment, whatnot. That is my Dawn. No, not Dawn. Wow. Dagger from Cloak and Dagger. Thanks everyone.